Aren't you a little short for a stormtrooper?
What's up, nerds? Welcome to yet another episode of the Multiverse Report. We are recapping the week's nerdy news from Jakku to Hell's Kitchen and everywhere in between. My name is Mike Gibson. With me, as always, Steve Haller. What's up, Steve?
I feel like there's a lot of distance between Jakku and Hell's Kitchen.
A considerable amount of distance and time.
Yeah.
Since one of those happened, might not exist because it's such a long time ago. And so far away.
It's true.
So we don't know the fate of Jakku. We don't know how long ago it was, but we know it's far away.
But we did learn
Far,
that
far
there's
away.
a possibility our galaxy exists in that galaxy.
Well,
Or in that galaxy's canon.
in that universe. Yeah, in
Right,
that galaxy's
yeah.
canon is probably a better way to say it. Because now we know that multiple galaxies exist. So all bets are off, I guess.
And we're already off on a Star Wars tangent. Okay.
I know, yeah. Maybe we should start the show before we start just the most dense conversation about not even
right down
not even-
directly into the weeds.
Yeah.
Yep. This is
Hey,
how we do on
everybody.
the Multiverse Report.
Welcome to the Multiverse Report.
Yeah, no. Did notice an uptick in some subscribers on various social platforms, and that appreciate all of you.
Yeah.
It's been a ride. If any of you are checking us out because you checked out the G. Willow Wilson interview, which was awesome. Many thanks to her,
Awesome.
as well as the Jay Stevens interview we just did a couple weeks ago as well. Thank you guys for showing up.
Thank you so much.
The links to both of those are in the show notes. We're going to keep them there for a while because they were both really cool interviews.
Yeah. And yeah, again, shout out to G. Willow Wilson for being so generous with her time, entertaining my Batman fan joke about not joke, but question about Killer Croc. I just had to had to get that in there. She was wonderful, and I know we sung her praises in the intro to that episode, but it's worth doing it again. If you haven't heard it, it is in your feeds right now, either in podcast form or on our YouTube page. You can watch us talk to G. Willow Wilson, or you can simply listen to us talk to G. Willow Wilson. Either way, you should do that. And again, as Steve mentioned, thank you for subscribing. Thanks for liking us on social media. We like he said, we got an influx of followers and subscribers from that. So thank you all very, very much. We hope to have her back. We hope to have other interviews in the future. But this is our, those of you that may be joining us for the first time, this is our regularly scheduled program, Sunday nights at 9:30-ish. We do a weekly nerdy news recap show, and that's what we're going to do tonight. Right, Steve?
Absolutely. Now you say
Absolutely.
regularly scheduled, all I can think of is like Tom Brokaw breaking in with news and then back to your scheduled programming. But
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
probably dating myself with this reference.
A little bit.
Yeah,
a little
yeah.
bit. But it's okay. I got it. I think I'm sure a lot of the people that listen to this are also
I
understanding.
mean,
of
I
that.
could have dropped a Walter Cronkite.
Well, yeah, then you would be
Yes,
inaccurately dating yourself.
yes, also
Yeah.
true. But yeah, anything else we want to hit off the top before we dive into some cool as shit things?
I don't know. I think I'm good. We're sponsored by Funky Town Comics in Camillus, New York. So that's something we could hit. Funky
Yeah.
Town Comics, and you should hit Funky Town Comics.
You should.
if
They
you haven't been there.
actually, they even gave us a book to talk about later in the podcast, like they do every week.
Oh.
I believe we
Oh.
got the same book this week.
Well, I didn't get a book this week because I was very busy, and then I was out of town for part of the week.
I wonder what we
So
should do with this then.
I have a book,
Okay.
but it's just one that I happened to buy and read.
Yeah.
Were you expecting us to have read the same book?
Jesse said he was going to give it to both of us, so yeah.
Oh, well, I didn't show up to get it, so
Well,
sorry,
there you
Jesse.
go. You know where you guys can also show up to buy things besides Funky Town Comics and Vinyl?
Ooh. I know this
Does
one.
Mike know?
I know this.
Mike, where?
The Horticulture Building at the great New York State Fairgrounds on March 16th and 17th for Syracuse Collectors Con.
Absolutely.
Nailed
nailed
it. Nailed it. Yeah.
Yep.
We're going to be there. We're going to have a table podcasting. I'm going to have a table selling comics, and Funky Town Comics is going to be there as well. They're sponsoring the whole shebang. So be there. Tickets on sale now.
Yep.
Now. You can get them at Funky Town. You can get them at Syracuse Collectors Con website.
I believe Larger Than Life you can as well. I think.
Oh, cool.
And then, yeah, there's going to be multiple comic vendors there, including the aforementioned Funky Town Comics and Vinyl. There'll be multiple signings from Power Rangers and others. I believe April O'Neil is going to be there.
And a multitude of Ninja Turtle voices, I believe, will be there.
So you can hit those up if you want to. I know Retro Game Con is going to have a section going on there. So yeah, there's a multitude of things happening.
Yeah.
I want to say I heard something about like a wrestling ring or something. I don't know.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there was things were all sorts of over the place. So I'd say keep an eye on the websites and socials for Syracuse Collectors Con as well for any of these updates. And we'll try and feed you as much as we can.
Yeah, we sure will. We sure will. So yeah, let's dive into some stuff. Tonight we're talking, we got some Marvel stuff. We got some light DC stuff. We're talking Oscar nominations a little bit later. Nothing too crazy there. Comic stuff. We got some one-shots we're going to round it out with. We got a franchise that we seldom talk about. Appearance of a, it's always fun when we get a franchise. We have a reason to talk about a franchise we don't often talk about. So we'll see what roads we lead ourselves down when we get to that. But we're starting off in the aforementioned galaxy far, far away.
Mm-hmm.
Which, Steve, I happen to think that Star Wars, I mean, if you said, hey, Mike, describe Star Wars in 3 words, those 3 words would probably be cool as shit.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. And I think it was cool. Accurate to someone who may be tied into said Star Wars, tied into a Star Wars or two.
Yeah. Hey, because you know what? Sorry, before we actually get to the story, just one more tangent on the topic of things being cool as shit, specifically Star Wars. Like, that's a lot of the reason that we like characters in Star Wars. Like, like the cool thing about Star Wars, how like every background character has a name and an action figure and like a storyline or a comic book, like we know the names of every alien in that cantina or whatever. That happens because they just look cool. They're just cool as shit. Like, that's why Boba Fett's such a huge character, despite having barely any screen time for 30, 45 years or whatever. Like, he just looks cool as shit.
Yeah.
So
100%.
I started this segment with a joke, being those 3 words to describe Star Wars, but it's kind of accurate.
Yeah.
It's pretty accurate. But anyway, we're not the only ones that think Star Wars is cool as shit, as Steve was saying. The one and only Daisy Ridley, Rey herself, was interviewed by Variety this week, a very pretty lengthy, in-depth interview about, she got a new movie coming out called Sometimes I Think About Dying, which I've heard really good things about. And she talked about that. And obviously, she was asked about her role in the new Jedi Order film. Still don't know the title of that. That's just like the working title. Everyone seems to be referring to it as New Jedi Order. The interviewer asked her, how will the franchise's first female filmmaker impact the series? Referencing the fact that this new film is being directed by Charmin Obaid Chinoy, award-winning documentarian, and the first woman to direct a feature film in the Star Wars franchise. How will the first female filmmaker impact the series? Daisy Ridley said, the short answer is, I don't know. I'm excited to do the job, but not because Charmin is a woman. Her documentaries are amazing. Her idea for the story is cool as shit. That's where we got that quote from. No spoilers, but she gave me a rundown of the entire story. If it weren't amazing, I would have been like, okay, call me in 5 years, but it's worthwhile. I think that's a pretty telling statement. I mean, not that like she's going to say anything else, but the fact that she was like, I completely believe this too. I believe this because she's already done 3 movies. It hasn't been that long since, it's only been through since 2019, which
that's 5 years, Mike. That's
simultaneously, it simultaneously feels like a long time and no time.
Yeah.
But I say it hasn't been that long compared to other gaps in Star Wars film content, like the 30 years between the original trilogy and the prequels, or the additional 20 years between the end of or 10 years between the end of the prequels and the sequel trilogy. Like, this is a pretty short amount of time.
Yeah.
For a character to an actor to be coming back. So
22 years on the first one, for the record. 77 to 99.
Okay, Steve. Okay. Actually, it's less than that if you want to go from 85. If you want to go from 85 to 99.
Touche.
It's less than that.
Touche.
Which makes my point.
That's what I get for being a semantic jackass, but
yeah. Yeah. That's what you get for being a semantic jackass that hosts a podcast with another semantic jackass.
The thing with this Ridley quote, though, like it didn't. I don't know. It's I'm a guy who normally, like on my sports podcast I host, I'm translating coach speak and all, like them saying stuff without saying stuff, and actors do the same thing. Like it's very much we're on the press tour, we have to speak it up and do this whole thing. And this isn't the like, oh yeah, it's going to be good. Charmine's got something good going, etc. It's like, it just seemed genuine, or and it's not like we saw video on it or anything, but like the written quotes verbatim seem much more fluid and genuine than if it was like a stock. Oh yeah, we're going to come up with something good in the script, and we'll have it'll all come together and whatever. It seemed very emphatic.
Yeah, the part where she says, if it weren't amazing, I would have said, call me in 5 years. To me, that seems like, I believe that.
Right.
I believe that because, like, I think we were talking about quotes that she said last week on the show too. And, she's not leading any other franchise. Star Wars is clearly her like biggest role that she has in her career. But like, I don't know. It's not like she was pounding on Lucasfilm's door for another Rey movie. Like, they came to her, they had the idea, and then she said, so I think she would have been fine going longer without coming back to the franchise. I believe when she says that, call me in 5 years, I believe that for sure. And then saying it's worthwhile. So it means that she believes it's like a story that is worth telling, which I think is important for sure. I mean, well, it is and it isn't, because,
we didn't think Solo was worth telling.
Exactly. And there's a lot of people that still don't think it was worth telling, but I think it's a great movie. And like, maybe like, I've said this a million times, I didn't need that movie. I didn't need to see a Han Solo origin movie.
I didn't need Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah, but I got it and I loved it. Both those things. So great. Again, Star Wars, you give me more, I'm watching it. So awesome. But if you're telling me it's worthwhile, even, a bigger feather in your cap, Star Wars.
Now, on the flip side, if you want to hear a rant where Mike and I don't agree about Star Wars, go back 2 weeks discussing various things surrounding the Mandalorian and the Grogu movie. Mandalorian and the Grogu. Actually, if they titled it Mandalorian and the Grogu, I probably would be more excited about it. Yeah. But yeah,
it would be great if they started referring to him as the Grogu instead of just Grogu. That'd be great.
Yep.
But again, Steve, not to tear open old wounds, but, just because it's a thing that we don't think that we need doesn't mean it's not going to be a great movie.
Oh, yeah. Just like we talked about through that. Like, if this was something where you've got a couple options. You've got either it was a treatment for season 4 where they were like, you know what, this is going to work better as a movie. Let's do it as that. If that's the case, sure. Awesome. Great. Whatever. You have an idea that's fully cooked and you're not throwing it together willy-nilly. Or it's something where, maybe Favreau was like, Favreau and Filoni are, sitting on the couch watching the game on a Sunday afternoon and like, holy shit, we got this great idea. Like, let's go to Kathy about it and like get this made. Like, either of those options or something similar of like, hey, this is an actual good idea. Sure. Yeah. My biggest, the crux of my consternation about this was it felt like because of the timing and that it wasn't included in the big dump that they had just done, that it was something coming from the studios.
Yeah. I think it's funny that we had that big disagreement 2 weeks ago, and we've relitigated it last week and also this week. Yes. It's like we can't
get rid of it.
We're still trying to get back to common ground. A rift has opened.
I feel like we're getting closer. Also, Watkins, I have to lean into it because Watkins did specifically say he enjoys crotchety Steve.
Oh. I like crotchety Steve too. To your point, real quick before we get back to what we're talking about with Star Wars, I think it's possible about Mandalorian and Grogu. I think it's possible that maybe it wasn't the original idea for season 4, but it could have been an idea they had. That they were like, "Oh, it'd be really cool if we could do this, but we just don't have time for it."
Right. Something that came out of the brainstorming sessions.
They have a huge map on an office wall somewhere that's like
Pepe Sylvia
Mandalorian
style.
season 4. If there's going to be a season 5, the Filoni movie, like all that stuff, they know how everything is connected, and they're like, man, we don't have time to squeeze a season 6 of the Mandalorian in, or season 5 or whatever, so like, I guess we won't be able to do that idea. Oh wait, can we do a movie? Yeah, it could have been something like that. So We'll see. Anyway, back to Daisy Ridley talking about the new Jedi Order film. The next question from the interviewer, after she referred to the film as being worthwhile, the interviewer said, "Will it be weird to make a Star Wars movie without your co-stars Adam Driver, John Boyega, or Oscar Isaac? Because none of those 3 other stars of the sequel trilogy have been announced as being in this. There have been some rumors that John Boyega will return. Oscar Isaac has stated that he is open to returning. Adam Driver recently said that he's done. But I think he said he's done because no one has offered him anything. I think if they want him to come back in some capacity, I don't think he's a hard no. I think he just doesn't have any plans to come back because there aren't any plans for him right now.
Right.
So they asked if it would be weird without her 3 co-stars, and she said no, because I don't know what is or what I don't know what is what or who is who in this new movie. So much has happened for me since the Skywalker saga. I feel like a grown-up now. When I first started, I was like 20. I was the youngest on set. It took me the first 2 Star Wars films to feel worthy of being there. Now I'm in my 30s. The whole thing feels quite different. I've been able to work with other filmmakers, and hopefully I've gotten better as a performer." I think she's always been a tremendous performer, for sure. I think she's a great actor. So she's saying she doesn't know who else is in it or what else is in it. I don't know what is what or who is who. And that could be and then she kind of pivots really quick to how different of a person she is, kind of spinning around. So I don't know, maybe she knows something, maybe she doesn't. Steve, do you have any opinions as to if any of those 3 should appear in this movie? Would you rather have this be a movie that it's Rey and a completely new cast, or would you like to see some other familiar faces pop up, whether they be sequel trilogy characters specifically, or like BB-8 or Chewie or something that someone still could be around?
Well, they're titling it New Jedi Order for one, so hopefully a moon on Serpidal doesn't fall on Chewbacca like it did in the original New Jedi Order books.
Yikes.
Yeah, so in Legends, Chewie was the only one of the original 4 that died.
Oh boy.
But in my brain,
bad decision.
Yeah.
Legends.
In all honesty, it was great at the time because nothing. It was for the 10 years of books at the time, nobody was touchable. Sure. It was plot armor like crazy for everybody, and to have something like that happen, you're just like, oh, okay,
finally a game changer. Finally.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like there was reading through that book, and I'm like, oh, there's no way they're gonna. Holy shit!
Wow.
Like they just killed Chewie. And this is in my brain. I'm just like, I can't rationalize it.
I would hate that.
It was very contentious when it happened.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like after it happened, the way it was able to affect the rest of the storytelling was it was good. Like they did a good job with it.
They followed through.
Right. Now that said, which is a complete tangent, for the question you asked me, if they make a new Jedi Order movie without the only other Force sensitive we know in the new cast, I think we've probably failed as a society.
You're talking about Finn?
Yes.
Although that wasn't specifically addressed in The Rise of Skywalker, but we all assume that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, I guess it...
Was it?
It's not said out loud, but he clearly has some Force sensitivity. He says the whole thing like someone says, "How did you know?" And he says, "A feeling," which is like
Right.
code for I'm using the Force right now. You don't even know. You don't even know how much Force I got flowing through me right now.
He doesn't even know.
You don't even know. So I can see that.
I
can see that.
believe-
But if Boyega doesn't want to come back, then he doesn't want to come back.
Yeah.
And which is fine because then I feel like I would be fine either way. Of course, I would love to see 3PO, R2, BB-8, Chewie, like any character that you can reasonably argue is still alive
Yeah.
or still functioning. Like I would love to see them, and that includes John Boyega, it includes Oscar Isaac, it includes Adam Driver as a Force ghost or a memory or whatever.
Yeah.
I would, give me Mark Hamill Force Ghost again.
Oh yeah.
I thought we were gonna get way more of him in Rise of Skywalker, and we didn't. Barely got any of them at all. But I'll take any Force Ghosts you want to give me. I'll take anybody or nobody, really. If it's just Rey and all new cast, I'll like that too. I'll be excited for that as well. I'm not, I'm trying to keep expectations broad at this point for sure, because there's just no details other than who's directing it, who's one cast member. So we shall see. Speaking of expectations, I gotta say, entries, and this this is gonna moving into a franchise that we seldom talk about on this show, but definitely fits within the parameters of the franchises that we talk about and stuff we talk about. But this is a franchise who has taught me to go in with severely low expectations. Honestly, lower with every entry, pretty much.
No, so yeah, well, we can talk about it in a minute.
Yeah,
fire away.
Universal has announced that they are making a new Jurassic World movie. Apologies to any Jurassic World / park fans that I just alienated with that intro to this segment. The Hollywood Reporter broke the news that Universal is planning to continue the Jurassic franchise with a script by David Koepp. If you know that name, you may know that name, I should say, because he wrote Jurassic Park and also Jurassic Park: The Lost World. He also wrote Mission Impossible, so pretty good track record. And he also wrote the last 2 Indiana Jones movies. One of those movies I legitimately love, and the other one I think is pretty bad. But he also wrote Spider-Man. I didn't write that down, but he also wrote Spider-Man.
You're including the one that didn't happen in the Indy movies.
Didn't he write Dial of Destiny and Crystal Skull?
What's a Crystal Skull?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the imaginary one that we all thought we saw.
Yep.
And realized it was a fever dream.
Yes. Hopefully it was a fever dream at least.
Yeah. So yeah, David Koepp is writing a screenplay. Has written a screenplay. And apparently they like it so much, and the project has been going under the radar for quite some time. So much so that there are already rumors of a 2025 release date, which means they would have to start shooting it soon, within the next few months. The Hollywood Reporter article also mentioned that it would be like a new direction or a new era of the Jurassic World series, which I think is smart, because I think the Bryce Dallas, I almost call her Jessica Chastain because I always get them too confused. Bryce Dallas Howard and Jessica Chastain. Bryce Dallas Howard, Chris Pratt series, I think, had a lot of mixed to negative reviews. I'm one of those people that was mixed to negative on those movies.
I think it started strong. The original Jurassic World, I didn't. It wasn't Jurassic Park.
I thought it was
better than Jurassic Park 3. I thought it was probably better than Lost World or close to it.
I haven't seen Lost World in so long that I'd have to revisit them, and I don't really want to.
Also the CG from some of that stuff doesn't hold up either. Unlike the early ones, true. But I remember I found both of these, and almost why I'm relatively excited for this, if they're rebooting to a new thing, right? Of original Lost World 3, Jurassic World, whatever the one after it was, and then whatever the last one was.
Fallen Kingdom?
Yeah. And
I didn't even see the most recent one.
Dominion, maybe?
Dominion. Yeah, I didn't see Dominion. I heard it was bad.
Yeah, no, same. But
I
the
think
the
a
Trevor
reset.
directed one, like the original, was like, I thought that was fine. Well, didn't
thought
he
it was
do the
fine.
latest one too?
I think he did do Dominion. I want to say. I could be wrong. I think he came back for Dominion.
Yes,
but
he did.
I didn't see it. I thought Jurassic World was okay. I just didn't think it was like, I don't know. It seemed a little hollow to me, I guess. And I know a lot of people that love that movie, so maybe it's me. Not taking anything away from the people that love that movie.
No, but
you included Steve.
You get a little. I far from loved it, but it was.
Yeah.
It was something I could munch popcorn to, no problem.
It was certainly a great idea, like a fully functional version of the park.
Right.
Open. Yeah. That was good. But if this is like a reboot or a reset, or I don't know how the third one ended, so I don't know if it's going to be a continuation or if it's just going to be like a different setting. I kind of hope it's like just different setting and different trappings all together. So just something radically new. That'd be great.
Well, I don't take much stock in Rotten Tomatoes, but I do when there is a 29% rating on Dominion. So
from that, critics or audience or both?
Audience score
Or
was
is
a
that overall?
77. Or tomato meter was 29. So, yeah.
Ooh. All right. I don't know. Maybe I should rewatch all of them. I don't know. I'll rewatch the first one all day long. First one's great. And you know what else is great? There's a Netflix original animated series that I guess is for kids, but it's pretty intense, called Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous. You ever heard of that?
No.
It is very good. There's like 4 or 5 seasons of it. It's very good. And it is shockingly intense for a kid's show. There are like times when I was watching it with my son on the edge of my seat. Like I was like, "Whoa, my God, what? It's crazy. It's very, very good. It takes place between Jurassic World and Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. So like it's like a kids that win this contest to like be a part of, to spend a week at Jurassic World or whatever. And that happens to be the week where the park goes to shit. And they get stranded there on the island. So it's them surviving, through 4 seasons or whatever it is. It's very, very good. I highly recommend it if you are a fan of the Jurassic World franchise, Jurassic Park franchise. You can watch it. Again, it's for kids, but it's great. It's really good.
I'm now looking. I Googled that quick. The voice cast, Jenna Ortega.
Yeah, dude.
And Ryan Potter, who was Beast Boy in Titans.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. And they have some good, like, there's like a Bradley Whitford comes in to do a recurring character in one of the seasons and stuff. Like, they get some good voice actors for sure.
Haley Joel Osment.
Yeah. Right.
Jamila Jamil. Wow.
Yep.
James Arnold Taylor himself. Nerd royalty when it comes to voices.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. This is a good one. It's a good show. So if you're looking for something that's better, maybe more critically well received than the last couple Jurassic World movies, check out Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous on Netflix. My son watched the entire thing, and then like a year later, he watched it when he was like maybe 5, or early 6.
Yeah.
And then like a year later, he's like, I don't really remember this much about this show. And I was like, oh, you loved it. Let's watch it. And he started watching. He's like, this is scary. I was like, yeah, I know, but you've already seen all of it. You don't remember this at all? He's like, no, it's too scary. I don't want to watch this. I was like, oh, you've already seen all of it when you were younger.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I love it. Boggles my mind when kids do kid things.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Do you have anything else to say about Jurassic Park / World?
No, it seems fine. Like, could be good, could be bad. Who the hell knows?
Who the hell knows? Gonna have to see more. I mean, David Koepp clearly is like a good, he knows what he's doing script-wise most of the time.
Right.
Least,
I mean, of the, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things listed, and of that 1, 2, 3 of the 5 are very good, and the other 2 are movies.
But also, like, when you're thinking of Crystal Skull, right?
Yeah, and Lost World.
Lost World, yeah. But like, Lost World's based on a book. You know what I mean?
No.
So he's adapting. Yeah, it is.
Technically, yes, but it was not based on a book.
I know, dude.
What actually happened in that movie was nothing like what happened in the book.
Okay, fine. I will pivot my...
The words and the title are based on the title of a book. Beyond that, the similarities drastically different.
I will pivot my argument to the Indiana Jones franchise. I think Crystal Skull was based on an idea that George Lucas had. So George Lucas was like, "Hey, David Koepp, right. I have this terrible idea for an Indiana Jones movie. Write a script."
Right.
So,
and we all know how well that can go sometimes.
I don't know that you can blame it fully on David Koepp. Also, I'll say I have a soft spot. Again, I haven't seen this in a long time. I have a soft spot in my heart for Jurassic Park 3. I would say that I would rather watch Jurassic Park 3 than The Lost World Jurassic Park.
Was that
it's the one that Sam Neill came back for.
Is that the one with
Taya Leone and
yeah.
William H. Macy? Yeah. Because to me, it was just like, it was like, hey, look, we know why you're here. You want to see people trapped on an island, running from dinosaurs. Let's bing, bang, boom, get you there right now. And I was like, yeah.
Oh, trust me. I've seen Jurassic Park 3 on TNT like 75 times growing up. But like,
me too.
Yeah, it was one there. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. But as an actual movie, not great. As an entertaining piece of spectacle, it was great.
Yes. And I think I forgive it more because Lost World was like the direct follow-up to Jurassic Park. So like, that's like immediately weighed down with expectations. You know, when you're at number 3 and number 2 was what it was, you're a little more forgiving when number 3 is just like a popcorn action fest. You know. Anyway, speaking of action.
Yeah, absolutely.
Moving on into Marvelville. Being reported this week from comicbook.com that Bullseye is back for Daredevil Born Again. That's right. Last week, we talked about how Deborah Ann Wool and Eldon Henson were returning as Karen Page and Foggy Nelson in Daredevil Born Again. And now it's being reported that Wilson Bethel will be returning as Benjamin Poindexter, a.k.a. Bullseye, in Daredevil Born Again, Disney Plus show. Character was introduced in season 3 of the Netflix Daredevil show, where he impersonated Daredevil and ruined his reputation, even wearing his costume for the entirety of the season. At the end, he is defeated, but the series ends with a teasing his return. And now it seems like he is actually returning. So, Steve, does it seem like we know they announced Daredevil Born Again at Comic-Con like 2 years ago.
Yep.
And they were like, it's going to be this huge thing. It's going to be 18 episodes. And D'Onofrio's coming back. Cox is coming back. They didn't say anything about any other returning characters at all. And we were all nervous for a long time. It's pretty much confirmed that Karen Page and Foggy are not going to be in it. We're like, what the hell are you doing? Then the strikes happen. They have to they hit the pause button. They reorganize everything. We get these announcements like, oh yeah, Karen's coming back. Foggy's coming back. Now Bullseye's coming back. It seems like at some point somebody like picked up Kevin Feige and shook him and said, what are we doing? There's already a version of this show that people love. Why aren't we making a sequel to that show? And whoever did that, thank you, because it seems like they're just straight up making Daredevil season 4 now.
Which is what we wanted from the beginning.
What we all wanted and what they should have done. Again, I'm not saying that this show is going to necessarily feel exactly like the Netflix shows, because I feel like it's still going to be a little Disney-fied. It's going to be a little Disney Plus-ified.
Right.
A little MCU-ified. But the fact they seemingly weren't even trying to do that originally, it would have just been the biggest whiff of all time. And I remember you and I having conversations on this podcast telling our listeners, saying, set your expectations now. It's not going to be the Netflix show. It's not. It's just not. Tell yourself that right now. And now I still don't think it's going to be the Netflix show, but
keep your expectations where they are, Mike. Keep your expectations where they are.
I just don't think you have to, like, I was ready to be like, let's see this piece of garbage. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And especially after Echo was so good, I don't necessarily think it's going to be a piece of garbage. I still don't think it's going to feel like the Netflix show, but it's going to feel way more like the Netflix show when it has the recurring characters and rounding out the cast with the people that were in that. And if Bullseye's coming back, maybe more of a direct continuation from the end of season 3.
Yeah.
Which, again, seems like a no-brainer And I don't know why it took 2 years and a writer's strike for them to figure out the show that they should be making. But I'm glad that they have finally arrived here.
Yeah. No, that's it. We've finally gotten back to where they wanted them to be.
Yeah. Where
So,
it makes absolute sense for them to be. I feel like, oh, excuse me. I feel like originally it must have been a Disney Marvel MCU thing of being like, well, okay, we're going to give you Charlie Cox, we'll give you Vincent D'Onofrio, but we're going to make it our own MCU thing, and the Netflix shows aren't going to be canon, and we're just going to like do our own thing, and fans will still love it. And I think along the way, they probably realized, I don't think fans are still going to love this if it's not what I think it is. Because we also got, I don't remember if it was this week or 2 weeks ago, they came out and said, yeah, all the Netflix stuff is canon to the MCU now, which they were fuzzy on for a while.
yeah, it was
now
kind
it's
of
confirmed.
waffling.
Yeah.
And I mean, we talked about during Echo. I think at some point both of us shared our thoughts on it, but during Echo, D'Onofrio felt very much closer to like Netflix Fisk. Still wasn't quite like the levels of depravity of like
Yeah.
Netflix Fisk, but much closer than what we saw in Hawkeye.
Hawkeye, yes, much closer. And not like he was bad in Hawkeye, but he's wearing a Hawaiian shirt.
Right.
He's like getting his hands dirty, like just like this doesn't
Well, and
feel
it was
like the same guy.
Right. It was. I mean, it felt like some portrayals of Kingpin in books and whatnot, but it wasn't.
Yes.
It wasn't what we were expecting when we heard D'Onofrio was back as Kingpin.
It felt like a Disney-fied version of that character, Hawkeye did. Whereas Echo was, again, a little softer, but still maintained a lot more of integrity with the Netflix version. So I think, my fingers are crossed. My expectations are still low, but I'm going in a little more. I'm here. I'll say it this way. I'm more excited for the show now than I was 3 months ago or whatever.
Yep. Yeah.
Awesome. Speaking of things that I have strange expectations about. James Gunn.
Oh, okay.
Quick DC story.
I was trying to figure out where didn't have the rundown up, and I was like, "Where is he going with this?"
Oh, real quick. I saw a rumor this week before we go to DC. Stick with Marvel real quick. And speaking of the Netflix shows, I heard a rumor that there is a Iron Fist project in development at Disney Plus. Continuing the Iron Fist show, it would be a female-led Iron Fist show. I never finished Iron Fist season 2.
Nope.
Because I hated Iron Fist season 1, and I watched every episode of it despite thinking it was terrible. And then everyone was like, hey, Iron Fist season 2 is way better. It's way better. It's way better. So I started watching season 2, and I was like, yep, everyone's right. It's way better, but I still already don't like any of these characters from season 1. So I'm not going to watch it. But I heard that the end of season 2, Colleen Wing is given the Iron Fist. She inherits the Iron Fist power at the end of season 2.
Huh.
So that sets up her maybe to be the Iron Fist in the MCU. Now that that's canon, who knows? I can definitely see them wanting to re-energize the Iron Fist property because now that's the one that everyone's like, oh yeah, the Netflix shows are great, but that one's terrible. Like that's a universal opinion.
Yeah. It's like, you guys can do what you want with that one.
Yeah. In a world of fandom where there's almost no universal opinions, that is one. Everyone loves The Empire Strikes Back. Everyone hates Iron Fist. Those are like two canon events.
Yep.
To borrow a Spider-Verse term. So that's something that would be cool. I remember my favorite part of the Iron Fist series was Colleen Wing.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, great. I'll watch the last episode of Iron Fist season 2 and then get on board with a new Iron Fist project. Anyway. Speaking of shows you thought were dead, things you thought were never happening. Apparently, James Gunn answered a fan on Threads to confirm that the J.J. Abrams, Ta-Nehisi Coates Superman movie that was announced a long time ago isn't dead. Someone on Threads asked James Gunn, he's very active on Threads, if anyone is out there looking for the up-to-date.
That was the platform he chose of choice.
Seemingly, after the fallout of Twitter, he has gone to Threads. And you know what? I have too. I'm enjoying it. It's not quite what Twitter was, but it's closer than Blue Sky. Why is Blue Sky still doing the gatekeepy invite code thing?
Who knows?
Like, you need to let more people on that app. It's just not working out for you, Blue Sky. Anyway, someone on Threads asked James Gunn, said, "Is that Abrams' Superman Elseworld project still in development?" And Gunn responded simply, "Yes." So this is a movie that was announced in 2001 under the old Warner Brothers regime, part of the like $500 million deal that J.J. Abrams signed with Warner Brothers to produce shows and movies, and I don't think he made one thing. I could be wrong, but I don't know. There was tons of rumors that he was jumping into DC stuff, where he was going to do this Superman movie, he was going to do a Justice League Dark thing. None of that stuff happened. He was going to do a Constantine thing. Nothing.
Oh, that Constantine thing you were pretty pumped on too.
I was pumped on all of it.
Yeah.
I would love to see a Justice League Dark thing. They're talking about a Madame Xanadu movie. Hell yeah, Abrams, do it. I am in. You're not even directing it. You're producing it. Yes, you pay that money. But to my knowledge, he has produced nothing from that deal. So it's money well spent, Warner Brothers. Great job. Just throwing money at people that aren't giving you anything back. But anyway, in 2021, they announced that he was doing this movie that was going to be produced by J.J. Abrams, written by Ta-Nehisi Coates, and featuring a black Superman. There's a number of multiverse characters that are Superman that are black. There's at least two that I can think of. Calvin Harris, I think, is one name, and the other one I can't think of right now. Yeah, and it's not. We all assumed, I guess, that it was dead when James Gunn and Peter Safran took over, but apparently not. Apparently, it's still going, and I can see that if Ta-Nehisi Coates has written it, then it's probably pretty good because he is a pretty good writer. I gotta say, track record,
absolutely,
pretty outstanding. So I think it's worth holding on to. I would love for, I think I said this last week, I would love to hear anything about any currently ongoing DC project. We're getting drops on Superman Legacy and stuff, but it's been a while since we've heard concrete stuff about most of the other projects that he has going on. We know that he's writing Peacemaker Season 2. We know that they're shooting Superman Legacy starts shooting in March. But hey, what's going on with Brave and the Bold? What's going on with the Green Lantern series? What's going on with the Themyscira series? Come on, Gunn. I need it. Give me some announcements, please.
Yeah, I know.
Please. Even
comic related, if his track record is there with Black Panther. I haven't read his. He did a Cap series too for a bit.
Yeah, which I heard was really good.
Yeah, I haven't read that yet.
Really good.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, it's I would hope it gets off the ground, but we'll see.
I would love to see it. It seems like such
awesome.
a curveball, and it would be something so wildly different from any other Superman thing that we've ever seen.
Yeah.
So, yeah, bring it. I hope it works. I hope it works out.
Speaking of things wildly different than anything we've ever seen. Oh wait, no. The same as the last thing that was wildly different than anything we'd ever seen.
What?
We're getting Oscar nominations.
Oscar nominations. I thought you were going somewhere else with that, and I couldn't.
I didn't know where I was going with that. It worked much better in my head, trust me.
Oh, man. Hey, all you new listeners, thanks so much for, if you've listened this far. If you didn't turn off after our immediate jump into the weeds about Jakku and its distance from Earth.
Yeah, that either drew people in or sent them running.
Like, I already don't know what they're talking about. I'm out. Or, whoa, wow, they dove right in and I'm with them. Yeah. We got some Oscar nominations this week.
Some expected, some not.
Yeah. A lot of people talking snubs, talking movies that should have been awarded or nominated, whatever. Obviously, we got a lot of stuff going to your Barbies, your Oppenheimers, your Past Lives, your Anatomies of a Falls, things like that. Not a whole lot of genre stuff this year, I gotta say. I feel like there have been years where, either superhero stuff or action movies, maybe we get a Best Supporting nod or we get a score.
Yep.
Something like that. Every once in a while, you get a Black Panther nominated for Best Picture or Heath Ledger winning for Joker or something, but not quite this year. We did get a few in the world of nerdery. Best Animated Feature Film, One of the nominees is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I think it is one of 2 films that will win that award. I think its biggest competition is a Miyazaki called The Boy and the Heron, which I've heard is
yes, I did hear that was great.
I haven't seen it. I'm dying to see it, but I think that's the only one that could possibly take the statue from Across the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, also nominated were Nimona, Robot Dreams, and Elemental. Of those, I've seen Elemental, which was great, but
Elemental was great. Yeah. Got a nerdy nomination for Best Score. Mr. Goat himself, John Williams, for Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
Yep.
I've seen that movie twice. The score hasn't necessarily stuck out to me.
Seems like a John Williams score.
Yeah, I feel like this is like, because it's possibly his last score, I feel like this is we have to nominate John Williams.
Right.
This is like a tip of the hat nomination. I don't necessarily think he's going to win, but I think it's like, let's honor him by at least nominating him for what could be the last film score he ever writes.
Yeah. So also nominated were Driskin Fendricks for Poor Things, Laura Karpman for American Fiction. People are familiar with Ludwig Göransson for Oppenheimer, Mr. Book of Boba Fett himself, and then Killers of the Flower Moon.
Panther.
Oh yeah, and Killers of the Flower Moon, Robbie Robertson.
Yeah, man, I kind of want Robertson to win.
Yeah,
it would be great. He passed away over the summer, but I love him. I love his music, and the music in that movie is dope.
I still have not seen the movie.
It's on Apple TV Plus.
Yeah, it's finding the 3 hours. That and Oppenheimer still is like...
Steve, 3.5 hours.
Well, yeah.
Killers of the Flower Moon.
Yeah.
But like, I knew he was scored in that movie, and then in like the first scene, when the music hits, and the first time that you hear music in that movie, I was like, whoa, this is amazing. What is this? And I Shazammed it because it was so good. And I was like, oh yeah, Robbie Robertson. I forgot.
Yeah, it explains it.
That's why it's so good.
Yep.
It's great. A couple of nerdy nods in the best sound category. The Creator, which is a movie that I heard mixed things about, but from other trailers, I thought the FX looked incredible. So might see that later also. But apparently also had very good sound. Best sound also Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, which is a movie that I'm dying to see again. Haven't seen it since the theater. Want to watch it again for sure. And best visual effects, guess what? The Creator, again, I pretty much just gave that away. As well as Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, and Godzilla -1 up for visual effects.
This is visual effects on a budget of nothing.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. I think I can't call that. I can't call that one at all. Like I mean,
to even have that up against Guardians, Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning, and Napoleon, like the budgets behind those.
Yeah,
it's just like how are they holding their own?
I know. I haven't seen Napoleon. I can only look at the Creator's effects by what I saw in the trailer, which again looked incredible.
Yeah.
Guardians looked a lot better than a lot of the other Marvel movies I've seen in a long time. Mission Impossible, always great. I don't think it's going to go to Mission Impossible. If I had to say, I'd think it would probably be between. Again, I haven't seen Napoleon, but I don't know. Maybe the Creator and Godzilla. I don't know. That'd be my guess. Maybe Guardians. I think it's between those 3.
Yeah, I mean, just thinking like Guardians, you're looking at a $250 million budget. Dead Reckoning, you're looking at 291.
Jeez.
Napoleon, 200, and then the Creator was 80 million, and then you have Godzilla -1 at 10 to 15 million.
I know. Yeah, that's probably the reason that I feel like it's going to go to Godzilla, or it should go to Godzilla.
Yeah, like how do you do this on a shoestring?
The Creator even being only 80 million, like that's nothing. The way that movie looks.
Yep.
For the way that movie looks. Like I've heard it's not the best movie, but it looks so good. So good from the trailer. So
yeah.
So we shall see. This is all keep in mind when we're talking about awards on this show. Steve and I know, and you should all know too. They're meaningless. They don't mean anything. a movie winning an award versus losing an award or not even getting nominated for an award should not dictate whether or not you love that movie. If you love a movie, you just love it. It doesn't matter if other people love it or if it gets nominated for anything. Awards are silly. They don't mean anything. But something fun to talk about. I will be out of town. I think the Oscars are early March 10th or something, 9th or 10th. It's like the Sunday, second Sunday in March. I'll be out of town, so I won't be able to watch them. And I wasn't able to watch them last year for the same reason, which is a bummer. But I'll definitely be anxiously reading the winners the next morning for sure.
Absolutely.
All right, Steve. I have a comic to review. It's not the one that you thought it was going to be. I didn't stop into Funky Town to pick one up because I didn't have time. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first with a mystery book that you weren't expecting?
Fire away, man.
Steve, I am reading a book from the Sandman universe called John Constantine Hellblazer, Dead in America.
Okay.
It's a book that I purchased a week ago, I believe. It's a relatively new release. It is written by Simon Spurrier with art by Aaron Campbell, Jordi Belair on colors, and Adita Bakar as the letterer. I'm a big fan. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, Cy Spurrier always puts out solid work.
Yeah, for sure. And I that's a name that I had seen before or read before, but I can't think of something else that I've read by Simon Spurrier, but I knew the name. And I'm a big fan of dark mysticism and weird magic in my superhero books, and therefore I'm a fan of Mr. John Constantine. And a title like Dead in America was too good for me to pass up, so I picked it up. It's great. I thought it was excellent. It's pretty much everything you want. It seems like a continuation of his other series. I know there was a Hellblazer series going for a while, so maybe it's a continuation of that, or if there was another John Constantine mini that I missed.
He did a prior John Constantine Hellblazer back in 2019.
Okay, yeah, maybe it's a continuation of that, because it introduces me to characters that I've never seen before, but clearly are familiar to the character of John Constantine and probably to readers of that other series. One of which seems to be his biological son, which I didn't know was a thing. And I don't think that character knows that he is John's biological son, but John knows that it's his biological son. We get a couple cool cameos from big characters that you want. I mean, if you're going to be writing some Sandman universe, then you're going to want a little cameo from Dream himself, Mr. Morpheus right there. Referencing the first time Dream met John Constantine when Dream was looking for his pouch of magical sand in the Sandman. But apparently, John told a little bit of a lie about that, and Morpheus is not too happy about that. We won't spoil anything. But they're trying to hide out. They're in America. They're trying to hide out from something that's chasing them. And at the end, it sets up... It makes me want to read the next one because another character that John Constantine is affiliated with, he goes to seek help from. And I don't know, if you listen to this podcast or you talk to me about comics, you know that I'm a big fan of the Swamp Thing. So I think it's gonna there's a little bit of a tease at the end that's gonna make me buy issue 2 for sure whenever that's out.
There you go.
So,
yeah, Cy Spurrier, I think I first ran into him when he was writing Dr. Aphra.
okay.
So he took over. He took over Dr. Aphra after
right.
Kieran Gillen. I think Kieran Gillen left like maybe in the teens or right around 20 of the original Aphra run, and Spurrier took that over. He's done a bunch of X books. He did Way of X. He writes a very good Nightcrawler.
Oh, cool.
Did Way of X. Did Uncanny Spider-Man. The Sins of Sinister Nightcrawlers. That was its own animal, but there was I think another one of the books in that vein that he did, but then he also was the one that helmed that X-Men Blue Origins, the rewriting of Nightcrawler's origin story.
Yeah.
And that was just a masterful weaving of that addition to how Kurt became or came to be.
Yeah,
And
you just talked about that recently. So,
yeah, that came out I think November-ish. Yep, November 23. But he's been doing a pretty solid job. He's also writing The Flash currently.
Oh, okay. Then I have read. Okay, I've read a couple issues that.
Yep.
So yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's him and Diodato.
Oh, perfect.
Yep.
Okay.
Um,
Cool. Well, I am very excited to find out what comic I was supposed to review this week that I didn't get to review because I didn't go in to pick it up.
Sir, you were supposed to review Batman Superman World's Finest Annual.
Oh, no way. I would have loved to. Oh, man.
So instead, I
Come
got it
on.
as the
All right.
non-DC guy. I can say right off the bat, so this book, as you can imagine with an annual, it's a ton of creatives on it.
Cool.
I'm going to have to Google and pull up who is actually in it because there's so many.
Still a Dan Mora cover, though? It looked like it. The same.
Yeah, it looks like.
The series artist is Dan Mora, and he is...
That looks
so
Mora.
good.
So Mora also was the artist on Once and Future, which had me hooked on that. They did a damn good job with the varying the art in it, but so the to run the list of writers, Mark Waid, of course.
Yeah.
I believe he's helming the Batman Superman World's Finest ongoing too, right?
Series writer, yeah.
Cullen Bunn, Chris Cantwell, Stephanie Williams, Jorge Fornes on art, Rosie Campe, and Edwin Gelman.
Hell yeah.
Mora on the cover, as you mentioned. It's so the first short kind of lost me completely. Mark Waid helming a I mean, the art is awesome. There are various things that look cool as hell, but it's like it just wasn't my cup of tea. It was not what I was looking for, but it was all of the mites, whole story from the Fifth Dimension.
Oh, that's cool.
About all of the mites. Like once I got into it, I was like, okay, it's fine. It's a fun little romp. But again, this is me coming from having no idea.
Right.
Characterization. Like, this is the worst book to give me without having you to guide me through it. Yeah. Because I have no context on any of this stuff. Like, Hawkman punching Aquaman or Hawkmite punching Aquamite.
Punching Aquamite. That's funny.
And what?
To my knowledge, I mean, maybe it's been hinted that all these characters have their own might. It's been Batmite. Batmite's like the biggest one.
Oh yeah. No, there's a Joker might and like all sorts of.
I don't know that any of them have made appearances in main continuity besides. Is there a Nightwing might? Because Night Might. We got a Night Might in the Tom Taylor run.
I do not see Tiny Dick.
Okay.
That great phrasing. Sorry. Okay.
But
there goes that PG-13 tag.
I assume Mr.
Nope, there's one.
Okay,
Jesus
Christ.
Oh no,
yeah,
that was a lantern.
DC Comics, the Fifth Dimension in DC Comics is just full of like annoying little
it's just wacky
imps. Yeah.
There's a mini Metamorpho, it looks like.
So was there a story that you did enjoy that didn't completely lose you?
Oh yeah, that one once I got into it was fine. The Metamorpho story was awesome.
Oh, cool.
I had no idea about the character in any way, shape, or form, but oh,
nice. Yeah.
Decent like the art. It's fitting for what I expected out of a book, in that vein. Splash pages and all.
Oh wow, yeah, that's cool.
Well done. Through the whole thing, there's a couple other stories that are, there's a Bumblebee story.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, like that was fine. Again, another character I had zero context on, so
it's cool that it seems. I mean, a book that's called Batman Superman World's Finest, and there's a Metamorpho story and a Bumblebee story. Like those are like lower level characters for sure, but it's cool that they're being given the time.
Yep. Yeah. No, it's overall, it was a solid, like, especially if you're, tied into DC stuff. I'd
Yeah.
assume you would have gotten more enjoyment out of it than I did, but
Sure.
also, like, it was solid. Like, it
Awesome.
definitely, it was, it's not like I can give it an A+ or anything, but it was a solid read.
Cool. That's cool. Awesome.
So I'm going to flip
speaking
it
of
back
solid
to you
reads,
because I know both of us read way too many books this week, but I'll let you lead it off on what happened.
oh, okay, sure. Well, I didn't read too many single issues. I know new listeners should tell you that Steve has pledged that he will, in the year 2024, he will read 1,000 comic books, which is a crazy thing to do.
And
really.
as of right now, January the 28th, I'm within 4 of my target.
Whoa, okay.
Well, 4 of being on track. I'm like 4 behind, but I've had a couple of days that have been. I ebb and flow right around the number. I'm getting there.
Better catch up, my friend. So we'll be getting an update from him in a second. I didn't read any single issues besides the John Constantine. What I did do is I finished Invisible Kingdom by G. Willow Wilson and Christian Ward, which is a book that I started reading in preparation for our aforementioned interview with G. Willow Wilson, which we ran out of time to actually talk to her about.
Yeah.
But it's great. That's a great series. I was saying to Steve before we started, it's kind of like, it's very Star Warsy. It's very like space fantasy-esque, deals with corruption in, all systems, all big corporate systems of things that we're supposed to trust and that we're told to trust.
Yeah.
Guess what? There's corruption in all of those things. Just
figure.
kind of like real life. Who would have thought? But this takes place in, space. It's really cool. Highly endorse that. I finally started the final volume of Alan Moore's Swamp Thing, which is great. And it's just bananas, wild and crazy. Just traveling the cosmos. It's crazy. That's all I can say about it. It's great. If you love Steve, if you throughout your year, if you get real, if you're looking for other things to read, if you're trying to get your hands on their stuff, I will gladly volunteer you Alan Moore's Swamp Thing run or any amount of it that you would like. It's very worth a read. So good. My big recommendation that I had started reading this in single issues and I fell off, like I missed an issue, so I was out of it. But I told my wife the mere concept of this series and she couldn't stop thinking about it, so much so that she just kept telling me, she's like, you know what? I keep thinking about that comic you told me about. I can't stop thinking about it. I really want to know what happens, how it ends. Sorry. I got her the collected edition for Christmas, and she read it before me, and I finally read it this weekend. Charles Soule and Ryan Brown, 8 Billion Genies. Do you remember talking about that book?
Yeah. How was it?
Dude, it was great. It was really, really good. The concept of it is that out of nowhere, on a random day, pop out of the blue, everyone on Earth, all 8 billion people on Earth, get their own personal genie that will grant them one wish. And as you can imagine, all hell breaks loose very quickly. And the book does a really cool thing where it keeps track of, 8 minutes later,
right?
8 hours later, 8 days later, 8 weeks later,
Okay.
8 months later,
kinda
8
sweet.
years later, 8 decades later. Like it just keeps going into the future. And like it goes way farther than I ever would have expected. And it must have been such a hard book to write and to like comprehend. There's like a whole lot of like world building you have to do and rules you have to set for yourself. Like the genies have their own rules and what rules can be broken, what rules can't be broken. What if this person wishes for this and this other person wishes for the opposite of that? Like, how does that work?
Right.
Like it's so much to like keep in mind and keep track of. But they did it excellently with flying colors and a great, definitely like landed the plane at the end of the book. It's not a kind of thing. It doesn't give you like a lame cliffhanger ending or a ambiguous ending. It just, I mean, I guess it's a little bit ambiguous, but They explain so much, and the way it's just great. I would recommend it. It's the whole series is out now. 8 Billion Genies. Charles
Okay.
Soule and Ryan Brown. The art's great the whole time. Really, lots of twists and turns, things you don't expect, characters that you fall in love with, and your heart gets broken every once in a while too. It's a bummer, but I love a story that isn't afraid to go far, and in this way, like it goes far into the future. It pushes their characters start
Yeah.
out one way and they end out radically different because of things they've experienced or seen or whatever, and long and winding paths with lots of twists and turns. And again, we're talking about decades into the future that we go, but
Right.
maybe some of those characters might stick around, because if you say I wish to be immortal, then maybe you're still going to be there at the end of the book. You know what I mean? So it's like a way to keep characters around. It's really good. I highly recommend it. 8 Billion Genies. Check it out.
Huh. That's been on my list for a long time at this point.
Yeah, it's worth it. The whole series is out now. I got my wife a nice hardcover version for Christmas, and I'm sure it's in paperback as well. So check it out. Check it out. Steve?
Well,
you got a highlight from your week of comic reading?
No, I have a very varied week of comic book reading. Started off, well, I guess in chronological, started off with the Superior Spider-Man Returns.
Sure.
Dan Slott and Mark Bagley.
Yeah.
And then thought about, I should go back and read the original Superior Spider-Man.
There you go.
So fired up Marvel Unlimited and started off on 1 through 3 of, actually 1 through 4 at this point. So wow, I should probably update the spreadsheet because things are,
keep track.
That is, I guess I'm back closer to where I thought I was seeing.
There you go.
I'm only 2 off, Mike.
Keep those numbers accurate, Steve.
So yeah. Either way, Superior Spider-Man, Dan Slott with Ryan Stegman art, because Ryan Stegman art is always good art. And then a book I know you're intrigued about, or if you're not, you should be. The comic adaptation of Thrawn Alliances.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, we talked about that last week.
Yeah, so they did a damn good job of that.
Cool.
So Timothy Zahn and Jody Houser are working on the writing for it. And then
I didn't know he was involved in it, I don't think.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and he was with the original.
Jody Houser's great too. Jeez.
Yep.
Wow.
And then on art is Pat Olaf and Andrea DeVito. So basically you have 2 different time periods.
Oh, cool.
So I think I've mentioned before, the Thrawn Alliances novel was a juxtaposition of Thrawn and Anakin with Thrawn and Vader. And I didn't pick it up the first time because I hadn't been there before, but take a wild stab at where some of this takes place. You're going there in a month.
Batu?
Yeah. Black Spider Outpost.
No way, really?
Yep. Yep. So
wait. So you're telling the comic series is an adaptation of the original novel. You're telling me events of the original novel took place at Black Spire Outpost?
And I never put it together because I hadn't been there or cared about it at all. So yeah.
I was always under the impression that Disney created the idea of Black Spire Outpost so they could build a theme park there. But they took it from an actual place.
Then they did. But then they used that in this Alliances.
Oh, okay.
So Alliances is 2018.
Alliance is the most recent one. Okay.
Yeah, Alliance is
like the originals.
No,
trilogy or whatever from a long time ago.
Yeah, this is the 2018 novel Thrawn Alliances. So.
Well, that's still cool.
Yeah, that's
being tied in.
So yeah, because Galaxy's Edge opened when? 2019.
No,
opened in 2019.
No, before that. Yeah, before pandemic. Yeah,
so the book came out before that.
Wow.
So it was definitely something that was thrown in as a
plotted out. Yeah.
Yeah, they thought about that one, but at the time, it wasn't a thing, so I didn't even think about it. Absolute killer book and probably highlight of the week was Resurrection of Magneto.
Oh, no way!
An awesome Storm story.
Yeah, you sent me that screenshot from it.
Oh yeah, it was killer. There's what Mike's talking about is there's one frame in the Luciano Vecchio art where it's like a I don't know how to describe it. It's like back to back to back to back, all the iterations of Storm over the years, like all the main costumes that Storm has used, like the mohawk and the white and the like. It was all of the little like nuances and changes, all in like this stop motion kind of spread thing, and it was just absolutely beautiful. Al Ewing on the writing on that, so again, gonna be killer
for sure.
X-Force Volume 6, Ben Percy and Robert Gill, fine. They're setting up some things in X-Force. I'm hit or miss on Ben Percy, but at this point I'm following it, so I'm following it. Ghost Machine from IDW.
Oh yeah, I saw you read that.
Yeah, I don't know what I read.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah, more to come there, but I don't know what I read. Okay. Continued the rest of the Claremont run, or the rest of the first trade of the Claremont run through issue 100, and then started back up Strange Adventures.
Oh, good, man.
So we're on the Tom King and Mitch Gerrard's train, and was Doc Shaner on the alternate there?
Yep. Doc Shaner. That's another one. I got a hardcover copy of Strange Adventures when that came out.
Yep.
That collection came out. Read it. Loved it, and I gave it to my wife to read. It sat on her nightstand for maybe a year.
Yeah.
And she finally picked it up a few days ago, and she
like,
read
wow,
the
this
entire
is good.
thing. She read the entire thing in like 3 hours.
Oh yeah.
Like she just sat down, like our son was like out playing with friends or whatever. She just cover to cover read the entire thing.
That's awesome.
And knocked her out. It's so good. She couldn't.
Once you can initially, that's what I did with Miss Miracle.
Yeah. It wasn't like her being like, I just got to get through this. It was her like, I can't put this down.
Yeah.
Like it's just so good.
Absolutely.
Huge recommendation for me, for sure. Cool. Well, this week in your local comic book store, you may find Alan Scott, Green Lantern number 4, American Psycho number 3, Avengers Twilight number 2, Batman number 428, Batman and Robin 2024 annual, Batman Superman World's Finest, the aforementioned 2024 annual, which I wish I had read. Carnage number 3, Coda number 5, Dead X-Men number 1, interesting title. Duke number 2, G.I. Joe Universe, Harriet Tubman, Demon Slayer number 5, Incredible Hulk number 8, Lilo and Stitch number 1, Local Man number 9, Marvel's Voices Legends number 1, Miguel O'Hara Spider-Man 2099 number 5, Moon Man number 1, Power Girl Uncovered number 1, Spider Boy number 3, Star Wars Dr. Aphra number 40, Titans Beast World 6, World Tree number 7, and Wolverine 42. Yeah.
Which is issue 2 of the Sabretooth War.
That's right. I keep forgetting that it's Sabretooth War time. I should go in and see if I can get those back issues or wait for the trade. I don't know. We'll see. Steve, what are you adding to your 1,000 comics list from this list this week? Anything?
Hulk 8, because Hulk 8. That one's still carrying me, man. It's solid.
On board.
World Tree 7, Duke 2.
Cool.
Because the Energon stuff is just great. And Dead X-Men, because Dead X-Men. So that, if anybody doesn't know, that lineup for Dead X-Men is Dazzler, Jubilee, Frenzy, Prodigy, and Cannonball.
Wow.
So
what a lineup.
That'll be an interesting, quite the interesting run there. So Steve Fox writing it, and then Bernard Chang and Jonas Scharf on art.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
cool.
I have no idea what to expect, so I'm quite looking forward to that.
Yeah.
How about you? Anything jumping at you there?
I don't know.
Oh, Avengers Twilight 2? I didn't see that.
Yeah. You got
that first one absolutely slapped.
Yeah, you love that one.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I love the title Harriet Tubman Demon Slayer, but I haven't read issues 1 through 4, so I can't imagine I'm going to jump in with 5. I don't know. World Tree's real good, but I got the trade of the first one, so I may wait until I get another trade. I don't know if I'm going to be getting any. Maybe the Batman Robin annual, because I know I've been off of Batman stuff, but I do kind of miss jumping in. I like sticking my toe into the Batman world every once in a while, and it's an annual, so it'll be kind of a one shot.
See, but your problem with Batman is my problem with X-Men. Once you step your toe in, you're like, oh yeah, oh, and there's that, and oh, maybe there's that.
Yeah, I know, but like the Zdarsky stuff is what turned me off to the mainline Batman.
Yeah.
But I think is it Williamson that's still writing Batman and Robin, so like it might be a different flavor, might be a flavor that agrees with me more. I also I got a soft spot for Power Girl. And I don't know what Power Girl Uncovered is, if it's a one shot or what. I think it is a one shot, but I might grab that if it is a one shot, just because. Power Girl's a weird character where like, what's that?
I said I'm googling to figure out who Power Girl is.
Power Girl is a character who is on purpose or created on purposely. Sorry, I can't speak. Purposely created with gigantic breasts. And the creators of that character, I think, tried to just make that a defining part of her character, and it actually has continued. I think there's always like attempts to rewrite her in a way where she is, that's less of a focus. Especially in like the last 10 years or so, there's been like a real like, let's try to figure out what we should actually do with this character. She's a kind of a big character. She was a part of the Justice League International. Like she's been on big teams and in big storylines, but
right.
I feel like they always try to give her a solo series, and it works for a little bit and then it falls off, and she never like really catches fire the way that I think DC wants her to. But I've read some stuff from her that I really like. I think she's like she's part of the Superman family.
Yeah.
And she's one of these characters that has a convoluted origin that's been rewritten and rebooted like 5 different times. So you don't know which one is the right one.
Right.
But I don't know. I got a soft spot for her character. I think she's Superman-ish or Supergirl-ish, but she's like a little bit removed from the rest of the family.
Gotcha.
It's kind of like she's like the black sheep of the Superman family. So I don't know. I kind of got a soft spot for her. And if it's a one shot, I can do a one shot. I'm not going to dive into a full series, but who knows? Speaking of one shots, we got 2 one shots for you to wrap up this show tonight. Steve, I gave you the first one.
Absolutely.
Don't mind crushing that real quick.
Yeah, you give me a one shot about something I keep forgetting about part 1 of.
Dude, me too. Me too.
So part 1 is currently available, but part 2 of Invincible Season 2 will begin airing on Prime Video March 14th.
Yeah.
Maybe I should watch the first part before I watch the second part.
Probably me too.
I've heard nothing but awesome things because, well, it's Invincible, and if the first season was anything to go off of, I believe that was my one of my superlatives for 2 years ago.
It was.
Like season 2 is gonna be amazing. So the first 4 episodes of season 2 were released in November. Still available for streaming, as mentioned, as is the Adam Eve special. Still haven't watched that. That came out last summer.
I'm the worst. Yeah. The worst.
The show's been renewed for a 3rd season, which, according to Robert Kirkman, the creator, is quote unquote very far along.
That's good. We had to wait like 2 years in between season 1 and season 2, or over that maybe. So glad to know season 3 is not that far away. And yeah, I gotta get on that Invincible stuff too. Especially lately. I feel like lately, I feel I'm walking around my house at night being like, oh, I don't have anything to watch. There's nothing. I can just like, yo, Invincible, sit right there. What's wrong with me? Fire it up. Last little bit of one-shot news for the night. The Marvels coming to Disney Plus on February 7th, right around the corner. They just announced this is the streaming date for the Marvels. Despite mixed to positive reviews, the movie didn't fare too well at the box office, but if you were like me, one of the people that did not, I wanted to see it in the theater. I did not get a chance to.
I did.
You did. You thought it was fun. You thought it was good.
Yeah. Wasn't gonna get nominated for the Oscars, but
sure,
was fine. Was a popcorny good time.
That's all I'm looking for. Also going to be available on 4K and Blu-ray on February 13th. It's weird that why is the streaming date prior to the physical?
They started doing that, I think.
I know. But
Makes
like,
no sense to me, but
if you want people to buy money or spend money,
yeah.
then you should do the Blu-ray stuff first. Anyway, whatever. I'm definitely gonna watch it when it's out for sure. Because like the reason that I couldn't get to see it is that my wife really wants to see it, and her schedule was for once busier than mine while that was coming out, so we didn't get a chance to go see it. So, but we'll definitely be watching it when it hits Disney Plus. Unfortunately, I gotta say, the post-credit scene of this movie has been spoiled for me. And it's been spoiled for me just because I'm a person that looks online at things and talks about things in this nerd verse. And I gotta say, I don't know if it speaks to the reception that this movie got, or it speaks to the overall just state of the MCU where people are less invested or care less. But like, I can't believe that happened in a post-credit scene of a Marvel movie. That character showed up and it wasn't completely all over the place. How was that not the only thing anybody was talking about? I feel like if that happened 5 years ago, it would have been the only thing anybody was talking about. 100%. And it just like glided by with nothing, like no fanfare at all. How was that possible? I don't get it. So I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what that speaks to. If it's a failing of the movie or a failing of the MCU, whatever. But here we are. I'm not going to spoil what it is, but watch that post-credit scene, people. Watch that post-credit scene, because I don't know what happens in it. I just know a character is in it. That's all I know. But it seems like a pretty big deal to me.
Absolutely.
But I think with that, it's a little after 11 o'clock, Steve, and I think that's all I got for this week.
I think that's all we both have, Mike.
Well, then let's wrap this puppy up.
All right. Well, in doing so, y'all should check out our social feeds.
Please do.
Threads, Blue Sky, wherever you feel like getting a hold of us. Facebook, Instagram. I don't care. Just talk to us wherever you feel like. The multiverse at gmail.com is our email address. The multiversereport.com is our website that you can, well, it's a link tree. You figure it out. There's links. It's a link tree. Do it. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts if you could. It'd be much appreciated. 5 stars if you could. I think Mike and I have bandied about a potential contest for any 5-star reviewers. And maybe we'll do it like next month or something.
But hey, contest or not, you leave us a 5-star review, we're reading on in this podcast. We're reading it on the air. It could just be like it doesn't have to be about how much you like the show. You leave 5 stars and you just want to like, you could put like a recipe for like pizza dip or something. We'll read it on the show.
And then
whatever you want us to read. Unless
it's like, if you do that, I will make the pizza dip and eat it on the show.
Oh, yeah. Let's do that. Yeah. Give us 5-star reviews with your favorite recipes. We'll make them and eat them while we're...
Your favorite snack food recipes we will munch on during the show.
Hard promise. This is a hard promise, Multiverse Report listeners. If you leave us a 5-star review with a recipe, a legitimate recipe, not just like shit sandwich or whatever.
Yeah, that we will not.
Legitimate recipe. We're not going to do that. We will make it and we will eat it while we are doing the podcast.
Yes.
And we'll shout you out the whole time.
Preferably snack food of some sort rather than, you know, I don't need a 5-course meal at 11 o'clock at night on a Sunday.
We're eating like chicken cordon bleu or some shit.
I love my
Daisy
chicken
Ridley
cacciatore with my 1,000 comics update. Holy shit. Yeah.
That would be really funny, though.
That would be
That'd
great.
be really funny. Okay, there it is, folks. There it is. Give us a 5-star review with a recipe. We'll eat it while we're talking.
God.
Oh, please do that. What other incentive do you need, really?
No.
What else do you need?
That's got to be it.
That should be it. So yeah, all that stuff Steve said. Find us. We're on Threads. We're on Blue Sky. We're on Instagram. Go listen to our interview with G. Willow Wilson. We talked to her. G. Willow Wilson. One of the best comic book writers working today or ever.
Came on, hung out with us for a bit.
She talked to us.
It was fun.
It was so fun. I still I look at, I posted a clip of us talking to her on our socials. And it comes up and I look at it and I'm like, I can't believe that's me talking to G. Willow Wilson. That's G. Willow Wilson. And we're having a conversation. Me and my friend Steve are talking to her. That's crazy.
Yep.
I still can't believe that I got to talk to her. So good. So watch it, listen to it, what have you. Please do that. And we'll see you next week. It may not be Sunday. I'm going to be out of town this weekend again.
Yep.
Monday. It might be Monday. We'll keep you posted on that. But until next time, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And we'll see you in the multiverse.